Actors, we've all got issues, so let's talk about them. You're listening to Actors with Issues, a self-help podcast for actors by actors. Hello, ladies, gents, and non-binary friends. Welcome back to another episode of Actors with Issues, bringing you a bite-sized interview with folks from TV, film, and Broadway. I'm your host, Juan Ayala, and joining us today is a breakout star of the critically acclaimed, Golden Globe and Critics' Choice nominated thriller, Conclave. Please welcome Carlos Diehz. Carlos, thank you so much for being here, and congrats on the success of the film. It's been so great to see.
Thank you. Thank you. It's been exciting to see the good reception it's had. Yeah.
So I understand, this role of Cardinal Benitez is your feature film debut, and I understand that
Yeah.
before you had this long career as an architect. What was it that motivated you to switch and begin pursuing an acting career?
Well, it was mainly that my wife and I became empty nesters.
Hmm.
So I thought about, doing something new, doing something interesting, learning something new. And I remember that I had this itch for acting since I was in high school. So I decided to take it more seriously and give it a go. And here I am.
And growing up, were there any particular actors or performances that really sort of inspired you, seeing them in film or on television?
Regarding this film, the one that comes to mind more vividly is the Jesus of Nazareth by Franco Zeffirelli and this English actor, Robert Powell, how he portrayed him. That was very impactful for me. At that time, I didn't think about being a performer like he did. But later, as I said, yeah, I would like to be able to do something like that. And then also the performances of Robert Niro and Jeremy Irons, Daniel Day-Lewis. So it's like I like what they do. It's so natural, so impactful. So those are the actors that I keep in mind that I would like to reach those levels.
Yeah. And I saw Conclave just a few weeks ago. I love films like this. I love sort of like the political thriller. That's always been a genre that I've always found so fascinating, and it's so timely. And you just used the word impactful, and that's exactly how I would describe the film. We won't give anything away. There's lots of twists and turns as you watch the movie. But there's this one scene, where all the cardinals are gathered in this auditorium, and arguments are breaking out, and you have this monologue about taking sides and how the men have how you've observed them and what the church means and what it should mean. You have, as you said, sort of describing these other actors that you take inspiration from. It was so much stillness and calm demeanor when there's so much happening around. What was that moment like filming? Because there was chaos right before that moment.
Well, it was daunting because it was shot at the beginning of the 2 months of shooting in Rome. So it was I was really nervous about it. But once you run it a couple of times and then the final take is a retake. So I knew the dynamic. I overcame this stage fright to be in front of 120 experienced extras and these wonderful giants of acting, John, Stanley, Rafe. But to be able to convey this calmness and the stillness that you mentioned is about making justice to the character of the background that is portrayed. So it's a mix of a saint and a leader, a manager and a missionary. So in the middle of all this mess that is turning around, he decides to be an adult, to be the voice of reason, and reason does not shout, reason does not nag or chastise someone. It explains the reasons, but from a place of love. So keeping all this in mind and rehearsing, and actually the night before I went to John Lithgow and we rehearsed the scene in his apartment to be able to convey this calmness and to be able to keep a hold on the ground about not being overwhelmed by the the excitement or the anxiety in front of the people. Just focus
Yeah.
on delivering a proper message. And these beautiful words that Robert Strahan wrote in the script properly, so the audience would receive them as apparently they did
Yeah.
in a very positive, impactful way. Yeah.
Yeah, and that message, that Benitez, shares with his fellow Cardinals was just incredible. It was is again such an impactful moment in the film. And looking back at the filming and the production, and now sort of seeing people's reception and the accolades that it's receiving, what do you see as your biggest takeaway from this experience?
The biggest takeaway for me has been the friendship and the generosity of the actors.
Mhm.
All these the accolades and the acknowledgement that comes after that is a is a plus.
Yeah.
Yeah. But being able to be with these people, to share the stage with them, to be able to receive, letting myself letting myself to be open to their generosity, that was the biggest take. We are on the same in the same team, and regardless of their experience in their fame or whatever, they are willing to help a fellow actor.
And lots of our viewers and listeners are young actors, and having come into this profession in recent years, what would you say has been a challenge for you in pursuing this career and the craft?
Self-doubt. I think self-doubt is the biggest thing that you have to overcome. Is when you are so self-aware when you look at yourself on the screen and you miss the point of what you are saying because you're focused on how I look, or how my nose or my ears or whatever. Is get over yourself, right? Is and trust the process. If you do, if you're on an acting class and the coach gives you good praise, believe it, take it. So you're doing good. Because if you're not doing good, they're going to tell you. They tell you you have to improve. Then you really have to improve, right? So trust the process. When you are cast, they like you. When they give you the role, they love you, and you keep doing, and don't second guess yourself. And for the young actors, I would say, in my age, I'm 53 years old. So I've seen a lot of things. I've met a lot of different people. I've done some stupid things. I've done some clever things. I learned from that, and I have a lot of experiences and people I've known to draw for, to give shape to an actor. But as a young person, you don't have maybe a divorce or difficult things that you have lived in your life, but you can observe life. So observe life, right? Be attentive to what happens in your life, how people react and everything. So you can draw from those experience from other people to enrich your performance. And that's it. Is live, observe, and get over self-doubt.
Yeah. We actually started this podcast during the very beginning of the pandemic, and a lot of the actors I was interviewing during that time were sharing very similarly, of now that we're all forced to stay home, we want nothing more than to go out and explore and live and learn. And then of course, now that you're sort of forced to stay home and there was no work for anyone and all of that, it's what we craved. But then before that, when we were all sort of very busy with, people were doing their auditions and running around and constantly, pursuing their career, it's they didn't have time to live. They didn't give themselves the time. So that's been really impactful to see over the last couple of years, especially with the strike last year,
Mhm.
and all these sort of big interruptions is when people have to sort of remind themselves, give yourself time to live and experience and all of that. It just
Yeah,
not only makes you a
exactly.
better actor, but it, helps you grow as a human being.
Yeah, one of the things that I noticed in while we're shooting in Rome for 2 months, I would walk through the ruins and sometimes go and see a building, a church or something, take a picture and walk away. And then I realized, when am I going to be here again? I don't know. This is my first time in my lifetime. I always wanted to see this place, so I'm going to take the picture to remind me how I felt when I was in this place. So then be there, enjoy, take it all in, observe, contemplate the site, contemplate myself in there, take a picture just to remember how it was. But the picture is not all. So I would spend looking at a building maybe 30 minutes, 1 hour instead of walking away. But the idea of letting it in and not be just the technology, the phone, the machine, the phone, that is my only memory. No, the memory is richer.
And we always end our show with this final question. In 10 words or less, what advice would you give to a young actor?
To a young actor is keep at it. Keep at it, keep building your skills. Sorry, nowadays that if we need something in our phone, we just download it. If you need a new skill in yourself, well, install that skill. Go and acquire it and live. So when they say live life to the fullest, it doesn't mean to go do stupid things, all the stupid things that you have in mind. No, just enjoy every single little thing you do.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Carlos, for taking the time to chat with us today. Such a pleasure. And for all of you listening, Conclave is still in theaters. So if you want to take a trip out to the movies, it is still playing. So, check your local theaters. And it's also available to rent or buy on digital and on demand. Thanks for joining us. Actors with Issues is hosted and produced by Juan Ayala. If you enjoyed today's episode, subscribe to our YouTube channel or on the podcast platform you're listening to. Visit actorswithissues.com for exclusive news and reviews, and give us a follow on Instagram and TikTok at Actors with Issues.